Welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to a very special episode of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 101 with an incredibly special guest, which I am beyond honored to reunite with after so long, who you obviously know as one of the biggest stars from Insomniac Spider-Man franchise, who plays the one, the only, the lovely Rio Morales from Marvel's Spider-Man 1, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, and now the recently released and highly critically acclaimed Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Jacqueline Piñol herself. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jacqueline. I can't be more thankful and honored that you are here today.
Thank you, Evan. It's always nice to chat with you. I love that we get to have another conversation.
It's so interesting, too, because when we previously talked, that was when Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales released, and during that time, it wasn't officially announced yet that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was happening. So I wanted to ask you about what you would want to see happen to Rio in the future, but it wasn't officially announced, so I didn't want to get you in trouble. But now here we are, all these years later, and the game has sold incredibly well, massively praised reviews, and we get to see Rio continue her journey into this next step in the Marvel Spider-Man franchise, and now with characters like Venom being introduced, and seeing Rio get into her role as city councilwoman in New York, and seeing your character grow. How does it feel to finally be back in the role after all this time?
Well, it was such a journey of, while you guys don't know anything, and during the time that we're not allowed to say stuff, we're working. So it was just, it was almost continuous from the Miles Morales time for us. Very exciting. We never know what's coming at us. They don't tell us a lot. It's not like you know everything, and then post-release, to be honest, I find out more from you guys, the fans, than I know myself. I just don't. And, obviously as an actor, I'm working on other projects. I'm constantly auditioning, and I have my dogs and my family. So there's so much going on that I don't get to keep up with what's happening post-release. But that's why I tune into your Twitter and lots of other fans' Twitter to find out what's up. But it's been a very exciting journey. And especially because after all these years, you bond with the cast. We don't see each other often, but when we do, there's just a history there. There's a trust. There's a camaraderie and an energy that we have. And I couldn't be happier to be a part of that, because they're lovely. Insomniac, everyone who works there and who works with us during the process, I think makes it really easy and comfortable for us.
That's so amazing to hear, because it's even crazier because of how it transitioned due to COVID, and how that probably affected the recording process and meeting with the crew in person from the first game to Miles and now with the sequel, and how not only you've been able to develop those relationships further with like Najee, who plays Miles, and Yuri, who plays Peter, but also how the story evolves as well throughout that process, and where your character evolves alongside of you with the cast. So yeah, it's this very like symbiotic process, not to, on the nose or anything for the game, but seeing how that develops further is surreal. So seeing how this is like the big culmination of where your journey started as Rio from the first game, it really developed in a great way in Miles' game, and now seeing her kind of be in this fully placed role as city councilwoman in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and also further, growing that bond with Miles. How has that process been for you as an actor to evolve and grow with your character as this narrative progresses?
I think it was really empowering to see that Insomniac said, hey, we're going to make this mom, who's now a single mom, she has goals of her own. She has things she wants to do that are bigger than herself. So even though she's the mom of a superhero, it was really nice to see that you're not just the mom of a superhero. It's like you're a superhero too in your own way, right? And I think it tells audiences and other moms out there, like, we're superheroes every day, and I'm not like patting myself on the back. I'm saying the game did that for me as a mom. And it made me look back and go, oh my gosh, I'm representing so many different sides to what being a mom is. So becoming, the councilwoman part of it, it's really cool because I do think that Rio influences Miles to always kind of have that little voice in the back of his head of, well, what would my mom and dad do? What would they say? He cares. It matters to him because there's a foundation that he has been raised with love, with morals, with, a certain conduct. And he wants to do well, which is why, we love him and we admire everything he does, even when he makes mistakes or whatever, that's part of the fun. But yeah, I think that they did such a wonderful job of writing real characters. This is real life.
I also love how in the game, compared to Miles, because we see that relationship further grow between Rio and Miles, and how she was first scared to see Miles as Spider-Man because of how he's putting himself in danger when he is unmasked, and you get that great scene between you and Najee where you're talking about what it really means to be a hero and him stepping up to be Spider-Man to help himself and his community and those around him and those that he loves. And now it's even, supported 10 times over now, where she's this awesome super mom where she's also backing up Miles in his corner to also be his own hero further outside of being Spider-Man, and how he can help his community in and out of the suit, and also Rio being there for him no matter what's happening. So it's really awesome to see that relationship develop further. Did you have any big highlight moment throughout the scenes where you got to work with Najee from the Miles game or the first game, and now seeing that all the scenes that you get now with him in this one?
Yes, I'll tell you what it is. There was a moment, and you don't plan this ahead. You're working through the scenes, you're rehearsing, you're thinking about the character and the journey. But there was a moment when he comes into my office, and we're talking about the college essay, and I'm sort of checking up on him, but not. I remember that it was always very emotional with Najee. We have a really great chemistry. I love him. He's a wonderful guy who I just want to nurture and protect. And that was the moment that I'm like, I have to let go. He's an adult. He is ready to take care of stuff on his own. And if he's ever in trouble, he definitely has the tools. I've laid the foundation as Rio the mom. Let him go, let him fly, right? And so there was this push and pull of the character going, can I really let him go? And he's like, all right, you can't hold on to our babies forever as much as parents we always want to. I have a 7-year-old, and I know that one day he's going to be independent enough to walk out the door, and I have no control what goes on out there, but I have to trust that I did my job. So that came into play, and I wasn't expecting that to happen to me during the process. And obviously Najee as an actor has also grown and evolved, and he's with his character. So there are moments that were unspoken where that was just the feeling that I got. And I was, hopefully it came across.
I think it's not only a huge testament to you and Najee's acting relationship in the game and seeing that relationship further develop on screen, but how not only just how detailed and lifelike the character models are to really bring those acting moments to life in such a visceral way was astounding to see, especially when I got to go to the preview event for Marvel Spider-Man 2 before it released. That was the scene that they showed to us for the first time, like that exact moment where you and Najee are acting and as mom and son, and seeing that relationship grow was wonderful to see. And it's one of the biggest highlights of the whole game, especially when you get to the points where like the music museum, and how Miles is starting to really kind of get into his own with learning about what he's really passionate for and where he wants to take his career going forward. I really resonated with that as myself, being in college at that point and kind of figuring out those same steps. Yeah. So it was amazing to see that narrative grow. But at the same time, which is really the crazy, duality of the game, is that we have this great relationship and story going on with you and Miles as Rio and as mom and son, but you also get these really tense and amazing moments with you and Yuri, who plays Peter with the black suit, and how that symbiote's affecting him and impacting him, and that scene where he comes in and Miles is missing and you don't know where he is, and you're panicking and what's going on, and Yuri is in that dark state as Peter. Were you really excited to get into those scenes, or were there any other scenes with Yuri in the the black suit that maybe didn't make the cut, or that like moments that you really wanted to dive into further?
Yes, because working with Yuri is always obviously such a gift. I've known Yuri for so many years, way before we were both cast in the Spider-Man games. We've done voiceovers together for years, and so there is a trust already there. There is this, like love that you trust that I'm in good hands with this actor, and he is with me. So even in the rehearsals of some of those scenes, they're not long. There's not a ton of dialogue. And our job, and I felt like it was present, we didn't have to try that hard because we have that chemistry, is to be more than just the voice, right? Because after all, we're going to be animated, so you're not seeing what we're truly filming, but we're hoping that it'll come through. And when I watched the scenes, I really felt like we were grounded. Like I could feel and hear that it's very honest. He's deep, do you know what I mean? And he knows his through line, and he's been living this character for years. So to have those moments with him brought out that anger very naturally. It's not something that, like, he knew in some ways, whether it was Yuri or Peter Parker, how to push my buttons to get me to get a rise out of me, because I'll do anything to protect my son. And there are parts where, we rehearsed, but we didn't film this, where I grab him, I just want to shake him, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, and I just wanted to, but then all of that fed what you saw as the final scene.
Wow.
That was in the game for when he's in the window and all that. Yeah.
Were you excited to get to experience that side of Peter with Rio? Because in the first game in Miles, we see this so kind-hearted version of Peter, and him kind of consoling with Rio and Miles to be there for him in a supportive way, and then that switch flips, and it's just a totally different person almost. So as an actor and interacting with Yuri, was it like a challenge, or like a sequence you were really excited to dive into further, or like almost preparing for like some crazy stuff to happen with those sequences?
Yeah, I always let it take me by surprise, so I don't plan anything. I just know what emotional state I'm in the current moment. But I wasn't used to having exchanges where I have to be harsher or more firm with Peter Parker. And so I think Rio is, although hesitant for most of the time, has always been nurturing, has always seen him like a second son, like a mentor for her son. At this point, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't think as Rio, I was thinking anything other than like, you need to help him. You need to go out there and make sure nothing happens. Like there's all that going on. So that was a bit of a surprise to get a little bit elevated and forceful emotionally and vocally with Yuri's character, Peter. But it was exciting. It was something new, And afterwards, you shake it off, because you're like, wow, we hadn't had those emotional moments. So it's always really exciting. And I love the element of surprise, which is why we don't rehearse a lot. We work on our own. And when we go, we rehearse it for, dialogue and obviously for blocking. But I like less rehearsal and more let's rehearse on tape type of thing, because I think we get moments that you'll never recreate if you're not already shooting while we're rehearsing. And that was the cool thing about Insomniac. They're like, no, if you guys feel good with the dialogue, let's shoot one. And sometimes that was the one.
That's so cool, because it's such a collaborative process, it sounds like, between the cast, the crew, the animators, the directors, the sound designers, everybody, to really formulate this experience that everyone can be proud of. And seeing the final product come to play like that was surreal for me, as someone who's a huge fan of the black suit and what that represents for Spider-Man and everything. But it's hilarious and scary at the same time, because I was actually worried for Rio and your character in this game, because in the comics, I don't know if you know this, but when Rio interacts with Venom, things don't go too well. She actually ends up passing away from like a stray bullet where a police officer is trying to shoot at Venom, but it ends up hitting Rio instead, and she dies. And Miles has that kind of losing Uncle Ben-esque moment with his mom. And I was worried that might happen to you at some point in the game. Were you ever like worried, knowing where the story was going with introducing a character like Venom and the symbiote, like what that could mean for Rio and her involvement with that narrative?
I was wondering, and there was a time I didn't ask. I was like, I am just going to go with this, and wherever they take it, I'm going to just go with it. Because if I knew ahead of time, or if they changed things and threw it this way or that way, I didn't want to have those shocking, surprising moments already be lived. So I like to just say, let's just be here and now and see where they're going to take this. And so the element of surprise exists within me as I create Rio along the way. And that's what I think has brought a lot of these amazing little moments that I even saw when I watched the screening. I was surprised by it. I was moved to tears. I was emotional, and I was laughing, and I was like happy, sad, angry. So all the emotions played through me while I'm watching the game myself.
It's so crazy to see again how far this journey has come as well, from the first game, introducing Rio as the super supportive mom, then to Miles having her be such a pivotal role in that game, and now again coming back to the sequel and in also experiencing some darker moments too, like what we discussed with Yuri and the symbiote and how that impacts like Rio's connection with him. And it's just amazing to see what this journey is going on with Rio and where it could go potentially in the future, because I don't want to get you in trouble or anything, but like we see at the end of the game is that Rio's been going on some dates. She's been kind of trying to move on from the passing of her husband, Jefferson Davis, and she's now meeting with Albert Moon and his daughter, Cindy Moon, who just so happens to be a Spider-Woman in the comics as Silk. So I was not expecting that at all when playing through the game. I thought that was a huge surprise. Is that exciting for you to see where that story plotline could go, and seeing now potentially there's two Spider-Men in the universe, a Spider-Woman coming in now into the fray, and where that could lead with Rio's interactions with the crew?
I mean, look, it was just as big of a surprise for me as anyone when I saw it. I'm like, oh, and then that's the end? I was like, wait, you guys, this is how you're leaving it? So, I mean, it was a cliffhanger. I'm like, what happens? And so I know about as much as you, but I think the exciting part for me was that in this game, I saw that Rio is now, not only is she going on with her life, and also as councilwoman, she's trying to do bigger and better things for her community. I think that will always be a part of Rio, and passing along to Miles. But now she's like, hey, we can work together, right? She even threw like a little joke out there at the dancing scene, like, what about like me? Hey, but although that's stretching it, I think the cool part is that as councilwoman, as trying to improve the communities and the message and bringing people, together, that Miles has a huge hand in this, So I like that part of it. I like that element of, we can make this work. I'm still just human, which is great. And it shows us like we can all do something. I look at it as there's a lot of underlying messages for real life, for things that are going on in our society today, in our world, in each state or city that we live in, with so much that we see on the news that you're just like, oh, turn that off. But the game has a really great way of saying, we could always do something. We could always turn things around. What's our motive? What action can we take? What can we do that is good? That's what I love about the relationship with Miles and Rio. The ups and downs, but in the end, there's always that through line of, we can make this work and turn it around.
And I love how that not only reflects your character as Rio and how heroic and supportive and self-made she is, but also how it also reflects the kind of evolution of Spider-Man as a character, pretty much. We started with Peter in his journey from the comics and also this game, but also now seeing a more modern and current interpretation of Spider-Man with Miles, and how popular that character has become and almost rivals that of Peter, if not potentially more popular as him. And same with Rio, and how like she's almost the equivalent of like Aunt May, but also still being very inspirational and kind-hearted and encouraging to people who view that motherly figure in such a positive way. And it's all thanks to you for bringing that character to life in such a fantastic way. So again, thank you for pouring your heart and soul into these games all this time.
Thank you. I'm so glad that the fans receive it well. Look, we never know when the game was going to release. You just go, hey, fingers crossed. We know we delivered. We're confident that we put something great out there, but you still have to leave it up to the fans to decide and jump on board or not. And the fact that they have, and that I've received so much support and love, really means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, all the messages that I get. And, I can't always respond to everyone, and I know, and I feel bad, but it's so much. But I read them all, and I appreciate them, and some of them make me laugh hysterically, and some of them are naughty, but it's okay. I get it. It's the world we live in. So I'm trying to be a cool modern mom, and stay hip to things that are going on. But it's good. I really am glad that you guys enjoy it as much as you guys do, and I do too.
I think I speak for everyone when I say that we can't wait to see where Rio's story will go next in this franchise. But even for you as an actor, I think it's so exciting to see you grow with this character after all this time. Would you potentially, I know a lot of people have been wanting to see like a live action Miles Morales project for Spider-Man at some point. Would you be interested as an actor to potentially take on the role of Rio in live action at any point, if that ever comes around?
Oh gosh, that would just be a dream come true, honestly, because I do feel very close to Rio. I'm very passionate in my own life about the things that drive Rio to be who she is. And I think that's why I've been able to bring this Rio to the screen in a way that's loved so much, right? I want to serve the message, the writing, the story, but just give her that sense of a multi-layered character. And I think that I've tried, to always be very honest in delivering Rio, which is why I think, it's well received. But that would be incredible. I mean, to play a real life Rio Morales, that's just above and beyond. Yeah, great.
We can only try and pester the Marvel people to make that happen. We'll do our best as fans. But it's amazing because at the same time, not only are you a hero within the game as Rio and portraying that character, but also in real life, where I've seen your projects with the Companion Animal Protection Society, and how that is a project that you're very passionate about. And I think that's awesome to see you, publicly promote stuff like that. So is there anything that you would want to talk about that? Because I also know you have an upcoming Streamly signing on February 15th with relating to Rio posts, and that very festive New Year's Eve post that a lot of people have seen. But I think it's awesome that you're doing everything that you can to be a hero on and off screen, and that's fantastic to see. So is there anything that you would want to share or promote to the public to inform them about anything?
Yeah, well, thank you. Part of the process in doing these games, and when we had to slow down because of COVID and stuff, we spent a lot of time at home, and I couldn't just sit here twiddling my thumbs. So that's when I got very serious about starting my own foundation. And my foundation is called the Canine Condition. And we help spay neuter people's pets. We spay neuter family-owned pets. We update vaccines, microchips, the flea tick prevention, the basics, right? So that more doggies can be healthy and stay in their homes with their families. So that became very important to me. When I was filming the game and doing Rio, and she's trying to help community members and bring more life to her society and more support and more attention, that's not far-fetched from what I'm doing in real life, trying to help families with their pets. And I learned through this journey that there's always time and space to give back. So wherever you are in your life, it doesn't matter. Whatever is affecting you, or you see that it doesn't sit well with you, and for me, it's dogs in shelters or roaming in the streets and homeless, I'm like, I have to do something. So that's the message that I would want to share with a lot of fans out there, is whatever it is, could be the environment, it could be kids, senior citizens, some sort of, cause, give back, do something. The tiniest thing makes a huge difference. So I feel very supported by the community to help me get the word out, and I collaborated with Companion Animal Protection Society to do their PSA to educate more people and give them, reason to want to keep their pets spayed and neutered, and why it's important. So there's always room to do some charitable work and to give back. That's, a big message.
And I think that also perfectly mirrors the message of the game, be greater together. So it's awesome to see that,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, you're right. You know what? I should hashtag that every time I post a doggy.
There you go.
That, you know, because we do a lot of posts on our Instagram for the Canine Condition page. I'm going to put be greater together because I'm always hashtagging collaboration, teamwork, you know, cheesy things like teamwork makes the dream work. But it's true. Like, we can never do it alone. It takes many hands on board, hands on deck to help one dog. So in any, you know, space of whatever art speaks to our heart to give back, I think it takes a village. So I'm going to use that. Be greater together for my doggies. And then, yes, I do have the Streamly Live. I love Valentine's Day. Look, every day is Valentine's Day. Why do we have to pick one day to be like the love day, right? But since it's been chosen for us and it's on the calendar, we may as well make the best of it. And I had planned to do another one because I did one before during the holidays. And then, yeah, like you said, that fun, crazy post that took me by surprise and I had no idea. I literally will tell you, I mean, come on, I had like 2,000 followers. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is cute, funny, kind of racy, but no one's going to see it. Yeah, that was my, no one's going to see it. Literally, I posted it. No one's gonna see it. So here we are. So I'm gonna have a little fun with it. You know, obviously, you know, and I did contact the artist for his permission. Always, we want to give credit where credit is due. I want to support good art, beautiful art. Why not? I mean, if every mom looks at that, would be like, I want to look like that. I mean, I want to look like that. You know what I mean? So. Let's celebrate beauty and art. And yeah, but I'm only doing it this one time, you know, for this one piece. And I think and that's it, you know. Other than that, it'll be a lot of the characters that I play and that I voice. And so, and I'll keep it, you know, keep it real.
Embrace the culture. That's all we can do at this point.
Yeah.
But it also shows how
have
supportive
fun,
fans are. Exactly. And it shows how much love and care goes into the community when it comes to the cast, the crew, the characters, and of course the wonderful actors like yourself portraying all these amazing roles. So Jacqueline, thank you so much for your time. And it's just amazing to see how far we've come together from our previous interview with Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales to now with Marvel Spider-Man 2. And I'm sure down the line, whenever the next game releases, I can't wait to see where Rio and your journey goes next. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you, Evan. It's always lovely to speak to you. And congratulations again on graduation. It's a big world out there. So, you know, it's at your fingertips. You could do whatever you want and go in any direction. And you should be very proud of yourself.
I'll do my best for you and all of our amazing viewers here. So thank you so much, Jacqueline. And without further ado, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. And until next time, peace out.